A paper just published in Science confirmed something that should stop you cold. Two entirely unknown human species were just discovered, and not one bone, not one fossil, has ever been found. We found them anyway. Not in the ground, not in amber, not in ancient ice. We found them living inside the DNA of people alive on Earth right now. Think about what that means. You are carrying genetic material from a creature science has no name for yet. A creature that left no trace except inside you. Scientists call them ghost lineages. Species that interbred with our ancestors, passed on their DNA, then vanished so completely they left no physical evidence whatsoever. And the central question of this entire video is one of the most haunting in all of science. How do you find an ancestor that left absolutely nothing behind? This is not some abstract evolutionary footnote from a textbook. This is about your genome. Right now, sitting in every cell in your body, there are sequences from beings we cannot even classify. One of these ghost species was found hiding inside West African genomes. The signal is so distinct, so statistically impossible to explain any other way, that researchers are certain it is real. The second ghost lineage is even older and stranger. Its DNA signature suggests it split from our family tree well over 1 million years ago, long before modern humans existed. We do not know what they looked like. We do not know what they ate, where they slept, or how they spoke. We know only one thing. They met our ancestors, and something happened. Whatever happened was intimate enough to rewrite human DNA forever. And the method scientists use to discover these invisible ancestors is one of the most brilliant detective stories in the history of biology. To understand what scientists found hiding in our DNA, you first need to know what they thought they already understood. For decades, the story seemed almost settled. Modern humans left Africa, met Neanderthals in Europe, and that was the main event. Neanderthals were not just a legend. Their bones were everywhere, from Spain to Siberia, and ancient DNA confirmed they were real relatives. Sequencing that ancient DNA was the breakthrough. It showed that modern people outside Africa carry roughly 2% Neanderthal DNA in every single cell. Then came the Denisovans. They were discovered not from a skull, but from a fingertip bone found in a Siberian cave in 2008. A single tiny bone, no face, no skeleton. But DNA extracted from it revealed an entirely separate branch of the human family nobody had imagined. Oceanians, especially people from Papua New Guinea and Aboriginal Australians, carry up to 5% Denisovan DNA. The mixing was massive. So, scientists had their story. 2 archaic cousins, 2 sets of DNA signatures, a tidy family tree. It was satisfying. It was incomplete. When researchers ran deeper analyses on living human genomes, they kept finding stretches of ancient-looking DNA that matched neither Neanderthal nor Denisovan. Something else was in there, something that left no fossil, no bone, no cave, only its genetic shadow preserved inside living people. But here was the problem. Every tool scientists had built assumed you already knew who you were looking for. The older method worked like a matching game. You had archaic DNA on one side and modern human DNA on the other. You compared them, found overlaps, called it introgression. That worked for Neanderthals. That worked for Denisovans. Because we had their bones, we had their genomes. We had something to match against. But these mystery segments in West African genomes matched nothing on file. No skeleton, no cave, no reference genome anywhere in the database. Scientists could see the signal. The statistical fingerprint was real, sitting right there in the data. They just had no idea what organism had left it. Imagine picking up a radio frequency from deep in the jungle. The signal is strong and clear. But the broadcaster has no name, no address, no known location. Earlier studies had hinted at this ghost ancestry in West African populations. But hint is the key word. Nothing had been confirmed. Nothing had global scope. Was this a regional quirk, an artifact of bad data, or something that had been hiding in plain sight across populations that science had barely started to study? What was needed was a completely new kind of search, one that did not need a known suspect, one that could find a ghost without a face. That new kind of search had a name. It was called TRACE. It was developed at UC Berkeley by Yulin Zhang and Priya Morjani, and it was built to find something that left no skeleton, no tooth, no fingerprint in the dirt. The core idea is almost impossibly elegant. Instead of looking for an ancient genome to compare against, TRACE looks only at the living. It starts with over 500 living human genomes. Not fossils, not reconstructions. People alive today. TRACE takes every single chunk of DNA across all those genomes and reconstructs its full family tree, every spot, every genome, the whole forest at once. This structure is called an ancestral recombination graph. Think of it as the ultimate family tree, one that captures every split, every merger, every inherited piece of you. Most of those trees look normal. Branches diverge within the last few 100,000 years, exactly what you would expect from modern human history. But then, scattered across that forest, certain branches do something strange. They plunge, down and down, far deeper than any modern human lineage should reach. That is the signal, a branching point that arrives too early. A lineage that diverged from the rest of us long before modern humans were fully modern humans. TRACE does not need to know who that archaic was. It does not need a reference genome, a skull, a species name. The depth of the branch tells you everything. The ghost does not need a face for TRACE to find it. Its shadow is written right there in the living genome, impossibly deep, waiting to be read. That shadow has a name, not a name we gave it in life, but one we carved from math and probability. Around 800,000 years ago, a population of hominins split from the line that would eventually become us. They went their own way, and then, much later, they came back. We do not know exactly who they were, but the best candidate science has right now is a Middle Pleistocene Homo group, possibly Homo heidelbergensis. They interbred with our ancestors in Africa, not after the migration out of Africa, before it, deep inside the continent, deep inside time. That means when modern humans eventually walked out of Africa and spread across the entire planet, they carried this ghost lineage with them. Every person alive today carries between 0.5 and 1% of this lineage's DNA. Every single one. African populations, non-African populations, people whose ancestors never touched the same soil for hundreds of thousands of years. All of them. This ghost is universal. This is not ancestry that belongs to one group. It was never anyone's exclusive inheritance. It was baked into the human recipe before the recipe was finished. Think about what that means. You share a hidden ancestor with every stranger you have ever passed on the street, with people on continents you will never visit. A being that left no fossil, no grave, no name. And yet it is sitting inside the genome of every human being alive right now, quietly persistent. We are all part ghost, every last one of us. That is the first secret this lineage kept, and science only cracked it open in the last decade. But that Neanderthal ghost is not even the oldest one hiding in our genome. There is a second passenger, far more ancient and far stranger. Scientists call it the super-archaic lineage, It split from the human family tree roughly 1.8 million years ago. That is not a typo. 1.8 million years ago, our own genus Homo had barely begun. These beings diverged before most of human evolution had even happened. No bones confirmed to this lineage have ever been found. No teeth, no tools we can point to. They left the genome and almost nothing else. We found them only because their DNA survived inside another archaic human. That archaic human was the Denisovan. Think of it as a chain of inheritance. The super-archaics mated with Denisovans. Denisovans later mated with modern humans in Oceania, and so the signal passed forward. This is why the signal shows up almost exclusively in Oceanian populations today. People in Papua New Guinea and Aboriginal Australians carry this extraordinarily ancient inheritance. When researchers mapped Denisovan genomes, they found chunks of DNA that did not match any known human lineage. Those chunks pointed backward, way backward. And this is where Homo erectus enters the story. The timing lines up almost perfectly. Erectus was in Eurasia, exactly when this super-archaic lineage would have been present. Some Homo erectus skulls share bone structure features with what we know of Denisovans. Researchers are now comparing protein sequences extracted from erectus fossils to look for a match. But there is no confirmation yet. No one can say for certain that the super-archaic ghost is Homo erectus. The ancestor remains nameless and faceless. This is a genuinely unsolved mystery sitting inside living human DNA right now. The answer is in us. We just cannot read it yet. But here is where the story shifts. Because this ancient DNA is not just sitting there, inert. It is doing something. Some of the most consequential genes in your immune system trace directly back to Neanderthals. Not metaphorically, literally. There is a family of genes called toll-like receptors. They are your immune system's first alarm bells, detecting invading bacteria and viruses before anything else can respond. Researchers found that modern humans carry Neanderthal versions of these toll-like receptor genes, and those ancient variants are measurably better at detecting certain pathogens. When early modern humans left Africa and entered Eurasia, they walked into a world full of diseases they had never encountered. Neanderthals had been living there for hundreds of thousands of years. Their immune systems had already adapted to those local pathogens, and when they interbred with our ancestors, some of those hard-won immune upgrades passed on. There is a cost, though. Those same Neanderthal immune gene variants are associated with heightened allergic responses. The alarm system they inherited is sensitive. Sometimes, too sensitive. Your hay fever may be an ancient inheritance, a Neanderthal immune strategy that worked brilliantly in the Pleistocene and is slightly miscalibrated for pollen season in the modern world. Then there is Denisovan DNA, which tells a different story. In Oceanian populations, Denisovan-derived segments are particularly concentrated in regions that regulate immune cells. About 2% of the entire modern human genome comes from archaic hominins combined, and that 2% is not scattered randomly. It clusters in immune and regulatory regions. Natural selection kept those pieces. Everything else faded out, which means these ghost peoples, even in disappearing, may have handed our lineage something essential to survive. And that gift changes everything about how we understand human evolution itself. For most of the 20th century, we drew human prehistory as a tree. One trunk, clean branches, tidy separations. Species diverged. The story went, and they stayed diverged. Evolution moved in one direction, only forward. Genetics shattered that picture completely. What we found was not a tree, it was a web. Geneticist Priya Morjani described it plainly. Human evolution was defined by repeated episodes of migration, and mixing. Not once, not occasionally, repeatedly. Populations met, mixed, separated, and met again across millions of years. Hybridization was not the exception in our lineage. It was the norm. It was how we survived. The old picture of distinct species marching in a straight line toward us is replaced by something messier, richer, and far more honest. We are not the end of a straight line. We are the living knot where countless lost threads finally came together. And yet the knot keeps growing. Because every genome we sequence from an unsampled population is another thread we have never seen before. Most genome databases have been built from European populations. That means most of what we know about ancient mixing is actually only part of the picture. Africa holds more human genetic diversity than the rest of the world combined, which means the ghosts hiding in African genomes may be the oldest and strangest of all. The trace method was built precisely for this. It can hunt ghost lineages even when the ghost left no bones, no tools, nothing but a faint statistical shadow in living DNA. As DNA sampling expands into underrepresented regions, the trace method will have more signals to work with. More ghosts will surface. More lost chapters will be recovered. And ghost number 2 may soon get a name. Homo erectus fossils have been found with proteins still partially preserved. Scientists may be able to match those proteins to the ghost signal directly. Priya Morjani calls this the next frontier. Not just finding ghosts, but finally learning their true names and the full shape of the world they built. Remember where this story started. A strange statistical anomaly. A signal in the math that had no face. No skeleton, no name, just a whisper that someone had been here. That whisper turned out to be a roar. 2 entire human populations, maybe more, who walked this earth for hundreds of thousands of years and left no fossil record at all. And the most astonishing part is that they are not gone. A piece of them crossed over. It lives now in millions of people breathing on this planet today. You are the archive, the living record of everyone who came before and left no other trace. Every cell you carry is a document they wrote in the only ink that survives deep time. If this story lit something up inside you, hit subscribe. We find these ghosts together, one genome at a time, and there are many more waiting to be named. And if you want to go deeper into what else is hiding inside your biology, the Strangers Inside You video is right there waiting. The mystery only gets stranger from here.